Guys, I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. If you didn't draw a hunt this year, don't worry. There are still ways to get a tag and get out in the field. Not only are there leftover and OTC opportunities, but if you join GoHunt.com Insider with promo code JScott by August 31st, 2021, you're also going to be entered to win $1,500 worth of KUIU gear. You also are going to get 10 entries into GoHunt's Big Summer of Elk giveaway, where you could win a 2022 New Mexico elk hunt and $15,000 in hunting gear. GoHunt Insider is the one platform for finding great hunts, researching new units, e-scouting, and planning your hunt. Now, an added incredible value at no extra cost are desktop maps and maps available on iPhone and Android. Again, this is no extra cost. It's part of being an Insider member. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Sign up at gohunt.com/JScott and get a $50 GoHunt Gear Shop gift card just by using the JScott promo code. And also, don't forget, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win $1,500 worth of KUIU gear. I also want to thank the gear shop at GoHunt.com and Cody Nelson, my friend of 20 plus years, the glassing guru. Don't forget, if you order on GoHunt.com or you call or text Cody at 602-399-3699, you're going to get a 10% discount by using the JScott promo code. You can also call the shop directly at 702-847-8747 or email at optics@gohunt.com. I want to thank GoHunt for their sponsorship of this podcast. I also want to thank KUIU Ultralight Hunting for sponsoring this podcast. That is the gear that I wear on all of my hunts. You can go to KUIU.com to order directly off the website. They're a direct-to-consumer company. They make the best hunting gear on the market today. Also, phonescope.com. Use the JScott21 promo code. You're going to get a 10% off on all orders at phonescope.com. Guys, thanks for listening, and let's get right to this episode. Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Brendan and I have been having fun. Brendan is the Chief Hunting Officer of KUIU and Director of Conservation of KUIU. Brendan Burns, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How's it going?
Good. I want to get the scoop on Canada, as well as I know a bunch of people want to know, is it go time or what's going on?
Well, I'm considering it go time, and I'll just put a caveat out there ahead of time. Like, I'm going to give you the best information I have as of right now. I've been in contact with a bunch of outfitters. I'm actually going to the Yukon coming up as soon as they open it. So I'll give you the best information I've got and what the protocol is right now. It could change at any point in time. There's some political stuff going on. There's definitely some things that have been done that are a little bit odd that kind of people can't quite make sense of. And so between now and so basically the other day that Canada announced that they were going to allow travel of fully vaccinated U.S. residents to Canada on August 9th. It was starting August 9th. And we knew it was coming at some point in time, but it was a lot of mixed kind of feedback, whether it was going to be the 15th. They said mid-month. So it turns out it's going to be the 9th. Thought it was going to be the 15th or the 21st. But starting on the 9th of August, as of today, this is like current information right now, you will be able to go to hunt and do everything in Canada. It will be basically opening up on August 9th. There's a few caveats with that as well. One is like no matter what you think about it, you have to be vaccinated, and you have to be vaccinated for your if you do the one shot or if you do the two shot, you have to have 14 days in between your last shot. So as of right now, if you wanted to go on the 9th, you would have to get vaccinated with the one shot, because once you have the shot, you have to. They say it's not effective till 14 days later, and you have to have confirmation of your vaccine card. And you have to have a 14-day span in between your last shot and when you go in. So that's just a given, no matter what anybody thinks about it. Like, that is just part of the rules right now with that. You're also going to have so as of right now, they're saying that you're going to have a PCR COVID negative test within 72 hours of crossing the border. And as of right now, you're going to have to get tested when you get into Canada again, a negative test. Once you get in the country. Now, there's been some rumors that could potentially go away the second one, but as of right now, And again, it's not open, so there's a lot of things can change between now and the 9th. You would have to get a second test.
Okay, so you have to be
Yeah.
tested within 72 hours. You have to then
Yep.
land, get there, and then you have to take one once you get there also.
As of right now, yep, there's a test when you cross. And I again, I don't know exactly how that works. It has nobody's actually done it. So a couple people with work visas have called me and said, "Oh, this is how it went," and they did get tested once they went through. But again, it's also a PCR test. So if somebody is going to Canada, you need to make sure that you take the right test, because the test that you just go down to your local doctor, or if you have a wherever medical facility there or something, like, you just need to make sure it's an actual approved test. So I've done it a bunch of times, even when Alaska required it. Like last summer in the middle of Alaska, the nasal test was deemed obsolete or ineffective, and then you had to do a PCR. So I've done it about 4 or 5 times now through a company called the COVID Consultants, where they do it online with you. You actually spit in a cup and then seal the thing on a Zoom call with them, and then overnight it to them, and then they get the results within a couple hours. So just there's going to be some minutia that you're going to have to figure out if you're going to Canada. And like I said, there can be a bunch of things change, but it's actually really great news in the fact that, at least there's some movement. There's going to be some guys be able to, some people being able to hunt, and it looks like, it's some steps in the right direction just to get life back to normal, especially for the outfitters up there. There's the other thing as of right now that just happened that could affect, this thing either way, is the United States. So right now, if you're Canadian, you can fly to the United States, but you cannot drive here. You like overland travel, it's kind of odd. Like, you can jump in an airplane and fly to LA or whatever, and as a Canadian, and then you just have to quarantine when you're going back into Canada. But you cannot drive from, let's say, you can't drive from Calgary to Montana right now as a Canadian resident, and they extended that until August 21st, which is a really odd move. Don't know what the deal is with it. Kind of surprised everybody. Everybody thought it would be like kind of the same thing. It would be open on the 9th. So some politics involved or something. Don't really know what that means. Hopefully it doesn't mean anything, but that did happen the following day. They just extended that deadline to the 21st. So, but as of right now, when you're in Canada, you're going to have to take and this was told me yesterday by 2 different outfitters in the Yukon. So this is not something I've read on a government website, but you're apparently going to have to take a COVID test when you leave. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with being in Canada. It has to do with getting back into the United States. As of right now, you'll have to take a COVID test in Canada to get back into the United States. And I don't know how that works, whether they put you in quarantine if you were to test positive. I have no idea what it is, but apparently there's going to be some 1 hour, some quick testing places like in the Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, some of the airports where you can go get that taken care of. But I was just told that yesterday. So again, I think if you want to have smooth travel and you don't want to have anything that's going to be kind of a pain, it might not be the year to go. But I'm gonna myself and a few of my buddies that have kind of been waiting are gonna definitely give it a run. And I guess we won't know until the 9th how it goes. But it's going to be, like I said, it's a good step in that direction, and we'll just see how everything goes. I don't anticipate it'll go exactly like they have released it right now, and so it's there'll probably be some changes between now and then. But as of right now, the 9th of August, you can go into Canada, which would be amazing. So, are
you going to actually go on the 9th, or are you going to wait a few days?
I'm going to go on the 10th. Just the way the hunt that I'm going on worked out, I'm going to go on the 10th. I think the 9th may be a bit of a bit of a pain, but who knows? But I just works out that I'm going to go on the 10th. And again, I'm living in Montana. I always drive to Calgary and fly up. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to drive across the border, so I can bring my stuff back with me and have a little more flexibility. Again, as if the regulations stay exactly where they are, then I'll be doing that. So it's kind of interesting. I've had a couple calls in the last 2 days. The vaccination thing, I figured the short notice and the vaccination, having to be vaccinated, there's a lot of people that are not going to get vaccinated. I figured that would have would throw a jam in it, and especially with the time frame. Like, I know one guy called me 2 days ago. He had got the first shot of the 2-shot, can't get the second shot until sometime like around the 9th, or, sometime in the next 2 weeks, he can get the second shot. And then he's got to wait 14 days. He's out. He got the wrong, so there may be some short notice type stuff come up. I didn't anticipate that. But there may be some opportunities for somebody that decides that they're vaccinated and they want to go to Canada. There may be some short notice opportunities, coming up, just because, like I said, nobody really knew. Everybody kind of waited till the last second. I mean, it was kind of down to the last minute whether it was even going to happen or not. So it still obviously could be slightly up in the air, but as of right now,
What you're saying, though, is you have to also get there before winter sets in. In other words, it's quickly, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Dall sheep hunt specifically, you don't want to go too late, right? So that guy that has to wait another 2 weeks, that's just pushing it later into the season.
Yeah, I mean, in the Yukon and in the Yukon and the NWT. So right now, there's no travel for Americans to NWT, as I understand it. This would be what we had just talked about, was basically the Yukon and British Columbia. I have not heard the update on whether they're going to let people into the NWT or what's going on with that. I haven't been able to get a hold of any of my friends that are operators up there. So anything I just said does not apply to the NWT as of right now. I don't know what the scenario is with the NWT. And they're usually over by the second week in September anyways. Most of them. As far as the sheep hunting, I mean, they may do a few here and there, but really, in NWT, you're talking generally a July 15th start, and pretty much winding down the first week in September, just because the weather can get gnarly.
Right.
Same as the Yukon. I mean, there is sheep hunts done later for sure, but the majority of them is the month of August. So I mean, you're really talking, if you can't get there in the month of August or the early part of September, generally guys transition more to moose and bear and all kind of like all the other stuff and all the other game. But in British Columbia, obviously there's stone sheep hunting happens a little later, but then obviously the season closes, so you're I think it gets pretty it's going to get pretty short. So again, if people are prepared or have been in touch, I've had a few guys that, and there's just going to be some guys that just decide that it's just a bit of a rush. It's obviously a lot of money and it's a bit of a rush, and there's so much uncertainty that there could be a few of them pop up. I would encourage anybody, if you do have a shot at a hunt right now, I can tell you, like, a full operating year like next year, I don't see a lot of hunts coming available for quite some time. And there's been a lot of people bumped, places filled in. I've asked a few guys, like, hey, what's it look like for the next couple of years? Like, it's pretty full. So, for what that's worth, the last kind of openings maybe this year. So
where are you going?
I'm going with my buddy Johnny. We're going up in the Yukon, so we're going to a cool area that we're going to go kind of do an exploratory hunt, and I'm looking forward to it. So it's going to be
what?
Stone. So yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be my buddy AJ Kissel and I are both going. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a cool hunt. So
good.
And it just feels like it feels like it's been in prison for a couple of years. So. Especially since I killed a Dall sheep in 2019 Alaska, like there literally was no place you could go sheep hunting. So it's just nice to, it's felt funny to not be able to go.
Right. When you drive from Bozeman to Calgary, how many hours does that take you?
It's like 7 hours. I think if I went the speed limit, maybe slightly further, slightly longer, but I get there in about 7 hours. And it's just really easy for me. It's expensive to have your stuff exported across. It's easier to bring it with me. I can bring some more meat home. I can bring the frozen cape home. I go right across with the head if it's your own trophy, and then I can take it right to where I want it to go. It just simplifies it. And the other thing is a lot of times right now there's just not a ton of flights. So for me, I just have one flight from Whitehorse to Calgary, which generally there's quite a few of, and then. Because I've on several occasions where I've been stuck in Canada, I've had to wait 2 or 3 days to get on a flight. Whereas again, it's just a 7-hour drive. If I can get out pretty fast and then go home, and that's not an option for a lot of people. But just for me, it is an option, and I've just done that every time, and it's just really worked slick.
Great, fantastic. Are you saying that if people are potentially ready to go and they're vaccinated and they're to get a hold of you, that you might know some opportunities that are out there?
I do know some opportunities. Yeah, in fact, I know of, there's not a ton of cut on price. I mean, there's a lot of, basically they've been off for 2 years. Like they're not really offering just deep discounts, but I know of two absolutely high, like one of the best Yukon areas for Dall sheep. He has, I think, two openings from the 11th to the 21st, one opening from the 21st to the 1st, and one opening like on the 1st of September. So I know of four there. And then I'm sure I'll find a few more out coming up, but that are, again, if the right person was ready to go. And, we still have 2 weeks. I mean, it's, something could change, but on the other hand, it's like I've went on far shorter notice hunts than 2 weeks. I mean, you can get ready in 2 weeks. I mean, I, being completely honest, I'm probably in the worst shape that I've ever been in going into a hunting season right now, and it's going to be fine. I mean, it just gives you a little more motivation. Gonna cut some calories out and be a little stricter for the next 2 weeks. But it's not a total loss of like, oh, I haven't been working out. Like, I haven't had anything to really train for. I mean, I'm decent shape, whatever, but not like focused like you've been like had a hunt coming for sure. It's definitely a different focus, but we got plenty of time, and
Will you be archery hunting or rifle hunting?
I'm gonna. My buddy AJ has not. I have already got a stone sheep with a bow, so my buddy AJ is taking his bow, and we're looking for a stone sheep for him, and I'm kind of second shooter, so I'm gonna take a rifle. So
nice. Brendan, let's talk about some of the new gear that KUIU has just released. One of which is the Kenai. And actually the KUIU box showed up at my house today, so I've actually been able to put it on and put my hands on it. Tell us about the new Kenai.
So like basically any new technology we come out with or any upgrade we do, I mean, there's a couple reasons that we may do it. With the Kenai, it's like, increase performance. If we can increase performance and decrease weight a little bit, then that's why we do it. And we've definitely made an increase in performance with the Kenai. The primary point or technology is that we now have the 3D effects insulation is it's siliconized, so it's basically waterproof, highly water resistant. I would call it waterproof. I've been messing around with it. It's pretty incredible. So basically the Kenai, obviously an amazing piece. It'll perform better in wet conditions. It'll keep the loft of the insulation even, and you can stay drier and warmer in those type of conditions. We also simplified both. So there's three things. There's a vest, there's a hooded jacket, a regular jacket, and a pant. And so we also simplified the build, particularly on the jackets. Put a new raglan sleeve, designed for a better range of motion. Kind of reassign the new front hand pocket placement that are a little more convenient. Put some new draw pockets on the inside, and we streamlined the silhouette and remove basically all of the quilting. So if you look at a Kenai or any of our some of those jackets, like it's panelized insulation. So the more simple you can make it, the more breathable it's going to be. And then the more you can reduce sew lines, which obviously put penetrations into that garment, the better off the garment's going to be. And so we've decreased a lot of the quilting, just streamlined it and made it. It's going to be obviously far more water resistant. There's a less compromised outer shell for water resistance. If that's making sense, we just reduced the build, which is going to increase how the garment functions. Less seams, more comfort,
a little sleeker.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole thing. Is we're going to try and simplify it, which will make it more water resistant, and obviously with the addition of the water resistance in the insulation, it's a really big upgrade. It's going to breathe better than it did. It's obviously still very quiet. Even some of our competitors have come out with some lightweight insulation pieces, and they're still lined fabrics. And by what I mean like that is like they basically have to put silicone or some kind of a liner on the inside to keep the loose insulation from migrating out. Whereas with the Kenai, it's connected insulation, so it's sewn end to end. And again, we simplified that to make it the bigger panels that are more breathable. But we don't have to have a liner. It's not gonna migrate outside the fabric. So the other thing that made it is it's extremely quiet. Obviously, we simplified it too, so it made it even quieter. So they're just like everything we do: reduce weight, improve performance. Two huge upgrades on, or a couple, I guess 3 or 4 upgrades on this piece. I think people are going to really like it. It was already one of our best pieces we've ever done, and it's definitely been improved performance wise, weight wise. It's, anybody who wants to give it a try, like you'll be really happy with it. It's a big improvement.
Okay, and then the Chugach Rain Gear.
So that, again, everything we do is, how do you make it lighter and more, how do you make it lighter while making it better? I mean, that's basically, that's the motto at KUIU since the beginning. So, a couple cool things, obviously. Chugach, we have three, what we really try to do is delineate between our three different pieces of rain gear. We have, the Chugach, which is the lightest, most packable rain gear, and it's truly our backpacking rain gear. Like I'm taking on this trip to the Yukon. It's like, and then we have the Katana in the middle, and then the super, super durable rain gear is the Yukon. So like there's three levels. And then with the new Chugach, obviously there's increased tear strength, which is pretty huge. I mean, obviously we increased durability. The abrasion resistance with the fabric change is 400%. And I actually thought that was a typo and double checked that because I've actually tested it, but you have a hard time telling, the percentage of stuff like that, but it's a 400% increase in abrasion resistance, all the while reducing the weight by 20%. We basically improved the fit and the cut of the Chugach, make it a little more streamlined, again, less seams. They added raglan sleeves, which improves movement. Allows you to move your arms more freely. It's made it quicker drying and just all over, increased performance by decreasing weight. Simplified it a little bit more, and got rid of the seams. So we're super happy with that product as well. And that was, I would imagine, I think we've sold probably more Chugach rain gear than anything in the history of the company. And to make an improvement this big to one of our staples is pretty exciting. It's been in the works for a long time.
With the 400% increase in abrasion resistance, in essence durability, do you start getting in that Katana realm of durability? Do they go hand in hand now?
Well, they're definitely different. And then the Katana is still, I would call it, more resistance with the nylon. But the thing about the Chugach is that it's got a lot more stretch now. Gotcha. Like the tear strength and increased abrasion resistance come with the stretch. I consider the Chugach definitely quieter because of the stretch, especially on, like for the bow hunter or something. I mean, any hard shell rain gear is obviously not going to be silent. I mean, if it's going to be waterproof, it's not going to be silent. That's the nature of rain gear. At some point, somebody may invent something that's totally silent and waterproof, but until then, when you have things that will absorb on the outside or stuff that's going to make it quiet, it's just not going to be totally silent. But the Chugach is definitely the quietest rain gear we make, and it's definitely with the amount of stretch, it definitely makes it quieter
and 20% lighter.
Yeah. I mean, we try not to do.
It's already unbelievably light.
Yeah, we try not to do anything that's not going to, again, if it's not going to increase performance and it's not going to reduce weight, we generally won't do it. And that's where, the partnership with Torrey, like, when it came to the Kenai jacket, like we really challenged them to like, hey, there are certain times when you could get a Kenai super, super wet and it would hold some water. Like, how can we prevent that from happening? And they went and, went through a whole development cycle on making that the insulation improved. And when they come back with an improved insulation, it's like, well, what can we take out of this jacket? Again, everybody wants to add bells and whistles, and improving by addition is not always the case, especially when it comes to ultralight gear. So like, what can we take out that is going to make it perform better, fit better? And again, when you go through a lot of different development cycles on a product like this to reduce the weight and increase the performance, it's pretty cool when it does work out, because it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it just doesn't, but with these two products, it definitely did.
And then I just saw the sleeping bags are back.
Sleeping bags are coming back into stock. Yep. Yeah. It's been a little while. Obviously there's some factory issues and things going on overseas that are far more complicated than above my pay grade. But yeah, they'll be back in. In fact, I haven't seen that. I don't know when. I knew they were coming back in this month, but the 0, 15, and 30 degree.
What do you tend to lean on? Say this hunt you're coming up. Are you on in a 30 or a 15?
I tend to run fairly cold. So like, again, I watch the weather as well, but it depends on what else you're packing as well. So like, I think on this hunt, I'm going as light as possible. Obviously I'm not in the greatest shape in the world, so those ounces really count, but in the Yukon, you can get some pretty bad weather, especially like, this is going to be a little bit later, like we're going to start hunting on the 12th and go through like the 24th or 5th. So we can see some really bad, some really cold stuff. So I'm going to take my Super Down Pro jacket and pant, obviously, with me. And I'm going to take a 15 on that just in case we get some snow or something. But normally we take a 30 degree with the Super Down Pro jacket and pant, in case you needed it. But I think I'm going to hedge. Like, that's kind of going to be my one thing I'm going to upgrade a little bit in and go with the 15, because you can see those type of temperatures. And, especially on an unsupported backpack hunt, when you're talking 10 or 12 days, if you get stuck in there, especially towards the end, or some extra days, or, 4, 5, 6 days in a tent, being just a little bit cold kind of makes it worse. So, but like the July 15th or summertime stuff. I mean, this summer I did a few camping trips with my son, and I take the 15 or the 30. It's great. Super light, packs down to nothing. It stuffs into one of our medium roll top dry bags. I mean, thing is tiny. So, it just depends. A lot of times it depends on your body type and how you run. Like, I tend to be cold when I sleep. So, I'm always probably erring on the side of caution.
What tent will you take for this hunt?
I'm going to take the one man, the Summit 1P. I generally like to take a freestanding tent, but knowing the area we're going in, there's a little more timber. It's a little more kind of lower country, low rolling type stuff. And the last couple hunts I've taken the one person tent, I've really, really liked it, especially, when you're really trying to cut weight. It's roomy, and, with the bug liner in it, you don't have to worry about the bugs. So I've been really happy with that. And, you can set it up in a kind of a smaller footprint. If I was going somewhere like, when I went to Ultimate Thule, or, some of the places that are really, really rocky or ice where you're not going to see it, like, then you want to take a freestanding tent, because there's nothing to anchor down to. I mean, the one thing about a tension setup tent like a Summit Star 1P is you need to be able to stake it down. And so if you're going to be on ice and rock the whole time, it's you can do it. It's just more of a pain. And there's times where, if you're setting up in the dark or trying to build a little rock pile, like, it's just, it's nice to have it. Like, that's why I love the Mountain Star. It's freestanding. You don't have to anchor it down if you don't have to. You just set it up, put some rocks around it, and it's got its own structure. So, again, I just kind of make a call before I'm going, based on the country or what we're planning on doing as to what you're going to take. I mean, there's a place for all of them.
So that Summit Star has a mesh body, and it has a footprint as well, and then it comes with, I guess that'd be one pole, right?
Yeah, and I don't think I haven't packed totally yet, but I don't think I'm going to take the pole. I think I'm just going to, I'm taking 2 trekking poles on this one, so I'll set it up with my trekking pole versus the pole, just to cut a little bit out of it. And I will take I'll have the inner tent and the, what do they call the floor, and the extra floor on, just because, it's nice to keep stuff clean, especially if you get stuck in there a couple days in bad weather. Not that much weight, but, makes it a little easier to keep your stuff organized.
Gotcha. And it's quite a bit lighter.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely lighter. It packs really, really small. I mean, like I said, when you start, putting those small cylinders packed up into your bag, and, this is going to be, we're going to walk off of the airstrip with 10 days worth of food on our back. So all of us. So you start to, they're talking 20 to 25 pounds of food. Mine'll be really close to 20, but, you consider that with your rifle or your bow and all your gear and everything, it's, first couple of days, you definitely notice extra weight. So anything you can cut out, like, we're going to go 10 days without air support, without a food drop. Like, we're going to dig in. So,
So
yeah,
will you take the Pro 6000 or the Pro 7800 or the
7800? Yeah. Just because, you're coming out, like, I'm planning on killing a sheep. So, you're going to need that extra room, and, the difference isn't that much. Like, the 6000 is kind of 3 to 5 day for me. Or when I'm going to be bringing out a life-size sheep and not going to be that long, but anything past 5 days, I go with the 7,800.
Nice. You've already shot a stone with your bow, so you're hoping to get one.
And with a rifle.
Okay,
yeah, I've
so
got
this
two.
will be your third.
Yep, hopefully. Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's like I said, it's funny. I feel like before my first sheep hunt ever, because it's felt weird to not be able to go the last 2 years, or even, really thinking this year wasn't going to happen. So I would say I'm unusually excited. It's going to be nice to just kind of get back to normal. I mean, everybody, I think we're all suffering from just this exhaustion from the last, it's funny. I was one of the last people out of the Yukon before it was completely shut down. I went on a bison hunt with Greg McHale, and I believe I left March 10th or 12th or something like that of 2020. And I would the airport was empty. Everybody was out of the country. I got to Vancouver. I was one of the last, it was shutting down. Everybody, U.S. residents can get home, but it was in the process of the shutdown. So it'll be pretty interesting to get back right up there. Cause I was, really one of the last guys out of Whitehorse, and before the main pandemic shutdown happened. So it's been a long time, really.
So between now and when you leave, as far as you say you're not in the shape that you're normally in for a hunt like this, will you get out there and be pounding around, or are you just going to kind of, you don't want to get out there and go too hard and get hurt, or are you going to pound it and try and get your body at least on the page?
I'm gonna pound it. I'm just gonna try and get in as good a cardio as I can. I'm not in horrible shape. I mean, it's not like I'm 60 pounds overweight or something, but it's just a matter of not having anything to focus on. I mean, I definitely train harder when I've got something to do. Luckily, I've taken my son camping a couple times, but I'm grateful that I actually had the foresight I was kind of low on a pair of boots that probably weren't going to make another hunt. So about a month and a half ago, I got another set of boots and I started breaking them in, and they're fully broke in, which is good. So, but yeah, I mean, my feet are a little bit soft, if I'm being totally candid. The hooves are not in the kind of shape they should be in, and I'm just going to be doing some hiking. I took a couple miler yesterday with a 60-pound pack on, just, try and make some of the muscles sore the first time, or, like I said, I'm not in terrible shape, but I just haven't been focused like you normally would. And I'm sure I'm pretty much like everybody else that's going to go. It was about 3 weeks ago, it kind of looked like, man, it's just not going to happen. Even some of the outfitters were getting pretty negative, and it just didn't seem like it would happen. And then obviously it changed really quick. So, but yeah, I'll just get in as good a shape as I can. But ultimately, like anything, being mentally tough and knowing you're not going to quit, and I'm probably going to, probably going to feel a little. Yeah, I'm going to suffer a little bit more. I'm going to feel a little bit more. And, I got some problem going. AJ Kissel is just an absolute animal. So I'm already planning on feeling like the old guy. So I'll just feel like a little bit more of the older guy. So no big deal.
Fantastic, buddy. Well, I'm excited for you. You can hear the excitement in your voice, and it's great to be able to get back and do those things that you love, for sure. And I know the outfitters up north are just chomping at the bit to get going, for sure, on it.
Yeah, if somebody is interested in one of those doll hunts, just Brendan B at KUIU is my email. If you were really serious, and again, knowing that you're vaccinated, you believe in what those dates are, they can shoot me an email. I'd love to help those guys sell those hunts. Again, there's not any reduction in price for them. They'll probably end up selling them, but if you were feeling like it, love to help those guys out, or anybody else too. I mean, obviously, any outfitters that I hear of that have some openings, I'll definitely pass on, because I mean, it's exciting for those guys to be able to, I don't think a lot of people, well, there's probably a lot more people that can understand, loss of income over that long of a period of time, but it's good to see them being able to salvage part of a season. It's definitely taken a toll mentally, financially, and it's just really good to see those guys have have some hope and have something to look forward to. Yeah. I always say, subsidies, any of that kind of stuff, which always comes up, but it's man, when that's what you love to do, when that's your business, and you don't get into that business for financial reason, you do it because that's what you love. It's a lifestyle. When you're not able to when you're both taking a hit financially, and you're not able to live the lifestyle that you bought into, or you've dedicated your life to, it's like a double whammy. So it's just awesome that they're, going to get back to normal. Like, really, really, like, I'm glad cooler heads prevailed, and they're at least going to be able to salvage some of a season, because, it's a 30-day window. They could also basically lose another year, which would be devastating. So it's really exciting.
Awesome, man. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing all that info with us, and getting us up to speed on the new KUIU Kenai and Chugach, and the new sleeping bags. And
are you just going to continue to wear out all the fish in Colorado, or?
I'm trying to, one at a time.
I've seen I have. I've seen it. Like, I find myself weirdly fascinated to watch you fish
with my dog
on you fish on social media. Like, it's like, I never understood watching people fish, but I was like, I wonder if he's going to get one there. I saw you like, oh, right there, boom, got one. So yeah, is it smoky down there at all?
No, not at all.
Oh.
We did a couple weeks ago, and then when these storms kind of started rolling in, it kind of must have taken the smoke somewhere else. But we've been literally having rain, which is fantastic, almost every evening, and we're supposed to get another one here tonight. So Arizona's really turned out with great monsoonal moisture in the last 2 weeks has really come, and northern Mexico as well. So things are looking bright, and we're getting close to elk season. So you'll be getting back and then transition right into elk season, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not, I'm not that optimistic on that. Like, it is really hot in Montana right now, and really, really dry. Like the hottest I ever remember and the driest I've ever seen. So I hope we get some more of that moisture too. Like, not for, everybody always talks, antler growth, or nobody cares about that right now. Just
body
hopefully
condition.
this, so we just don't get shut down for fires. I mean, like, I remember 20 years ago we had a season that didn't start until I think the 12th of September, because they just had everything shut down because of fire. And it's that kind of dry right now. So I'm really hoping that we get some moisture.
Right on, buddy. Brendan Burns, we'll talk to you when you get back. Shoot a big one.
All right. Thanks, Jay. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. If you want to send me a direct message, you can do so on my Instagram account, which is @JScottOutdoors. You can also send me an email at jscottoutdoors@gmail.com. I appreciate all the feedback on the podcast, and I look forward to hearing from you. GoHunt.com Insider has Filtering 2.0, where you can get draw odds, strategy articles, species and unit breakdowns, and unbelievable gear giveaways. Did you know that they actually have a point system where you get 11% back to the consumer for using points for every dollar spent? Also, a new addition is the mapping, Go Hunt Maps. You have the desktop version, you have the mobile version for iOS and for Android users. There's never been a greater value for the Go Hunt Insider. Check them out at gohunt.com/JScott.